got people in the waiting room, so I'm just going to set my settings. So I'm just recording now. I'm just setting my settings to actually automatically accept people in the waiting room. So, and then I will admit people as they're coming. I just wanted a waiting room because I'm not always here like 20 minutes ahead of time. So what I'm doing is accepting people as they come, and then now I'm going to set this for where the waiting room automatically is accepting people in as they come. So I'm not going to put attendees in the waiting room anymore. There we go. Uncheck that. Great. And then I'm muting people upon entry, but that's only because sometimes there's a lot of background noise. But then when you want to speak, you can unmute yourself or just request that I unmute you. So I will be I'm trying to watch the chat as I go. I've been managing to do that, not too bad. And I'm going to allow participants to unmute yourselves. So we've got that up and running. Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a few minutes just to show up. As you do, though, I like to kind of get a little bit oriented with people who are coming. So anybody who comes a little bit early has a chance to, we can get to know each other a bit and see, what's going on and why you're here, and, just get a little bit acquainted. I'm just going to put in the chat to everyone that, you can put the video on or off. So let's see here. Okay, video can be off for privacy. Okay. Because not everybody knows that they're getting recorded with the video on. So they're like slurping on some soup and they're, scratching and they're talking to their kids. So just so you know, if your video is on, it's still like there's a little pane there that's going to be recorded. So just know that, and you might not want that to happen. All right, so I've got another person. I want to admit her. Not sure why she wasn't admitted right away, just automatically, so I'm just going to do that. So I'll try to keep my eye on this. So if I have to kind of go back and forth, forgive me, but I shouldn't have to. So I've done that, and I'm going to start in a few minutes. So if anybody wants to pipe up and just, tell me who you are, what you're doing here. Okay, I've got someone. I hear someone. Nope, I did hear someone. And then if you need me to unmute you, if you're having trouble doing that, let me know, because I can do that from this end, because I can see everybody here. And if if I have that little line through the microphone, that means you're muted. I set this up as a meeting, not a webinar, so that we can actually have a meeting. Plus, it all looks different than when it's a webinar, and I really want to be able to converse with you and be able to see you if I need to, or if you want me to. Okay, so I'm still trying to admit this person, so I'm not sure why it's not letting me. There she is. Okay, good. Oh, Of course there's, okay, wait, I'm going to take that off. So I don't want people in the waiting room. There, and it says, I love that, Abigail. She said she's going to keep her audio off because there's a lot of Bob the Builder going on. That show's still on. That's so funny. My kids used to watch Bob the Builder, and actually my husband came to my my daughter's Halloween party, and she's 16, and he comes into the kitchen with this tiny hard hat on, and we thought, you look real strange. So because he thought he was gonna dress up as a construction guy, and we really thought he just pretty much looked like a kid's Bob the Builder. So and then she says we've been stashing VHS of Bob from the thrift store. Oh, so it's not still on. You've been getting it. Bob the Builder, can he fix it? Bob the Builder, yes he can. Okay, so yeah, it's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna keep my eye on the chat so I can hear the chit-chatting going on here. Still not sure why it's not admitting. That's gonna be annoying. Oh, we always have some kind of technical difficulty, right? Lisa knows because she's been part of my program, and just there's something, with Zoom, something going on sometimes. So I'm trying to admit this one person who keeps trying to get in here. But you guys are, I mean, let me know if you're getting, yeah, and it says she's admitted and then it says that she's not. So you guys are all, you're getting all of this, right? Like I don't have any breaking up. There's no problems with my video. Everything's sort of streaming just fine. Is that right? Just say yes and like if you want to come off and speak or if you just want to chat it. Yep, Abigail's hearing me. Okay, and it looks like most people are able to get in. There's about 50 people that are actually signed up. Usually, if you get 50 people signed up, they're all waiting for the, oh, here she is. Susan got in. Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so usually when you have that many people signed up, maybe like 5 people show, and then they want to have the replay, so I'll be doing that. So you may have the floor. Lisa was here last night supporting the program again, so thank you so much. I really appreciate her coming because you'll be able to ask her questions about the program because she's in it right now. So that's why I put an APB out to all my students saying, if anybody wants to show up and you have anything to say, whatever that is, just come on by and then people can ask you questions as well. All right, so, and then I see, so I was just saying to everyone, I'm just gonna say it one more time and we'll get started. And whoever hops in, you know, if those other 45 people just start flowing in, that would be great. But if there aren't as many, you guys have a lot of time, or not a lot of time, enough time to be able to ask me questions sort of personally. So what we're gonna do is, so if you don't wanna be on video, oh, and Lisa says she'd like to answer, don't be shy, come on video. Yeah, she's not shy. But if you don't want to be recorded, don't worry about being on video. You can take the video off if you need, if there's something you need to do. You know, if you're kind of bouncing around, it's distracting for me or other people listening, just turn your video off and then come back on at the end when we have the Q&A. Same thing with the sound. So I usually have everybody, you know, muted as I'm going, and then when you want to actually say something, you can unmute. Like Abigail said, you know, with Bob the Builder in the background. Hi, Abigail. With Bob the Builder playing in the background, she's going to mute for a while, and then when she wants to talk, she can come back off. So that's awesome. Thanks for saying hi. And I don't see anybody else with their video on, so that's all good. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'll send this replay to whoever isn't able to make it. Like I said, there were probably at least 50 people signed up, but we're going to get rocking, and they can just pick up where we are in this presentation when they get here. So I am going to share my screen. So first, I want to say that on my website there is. I'm frozen? Yeah, okay, so Lisa said I'm frozen, but Lisa, can you tell me if the audio still goes okay for you? And if it does, I'm just gonna keep going, because if I freeze every once in a while video, that's totally cool. I'm not seeing any freezing on my end. So if you wanna just sort of pop in there and see if my videos or my audio's okay. Yeah, audio's good. All right, so I'm just gonna keep going. If I freeze intermittently with video, whoop, did you all look really weird? Like, you know, I'll try not to make some weird faces so that I don't freeze like that, and because it's blackmail. So, all right, so I'll just keep going, and I'm gonna share my screen right away. But just so you know, I don't want to go on and on about myself, why I do what I do necessarily. I'll say for one thing, what I do, like in a nutshell, I do it for my family. I started doing this work for my family. I started out actually in academics. I have an MA in English literature, of all things, with a heavy background in women's and gender studies, advocacy work, and psychology. I actually started out with that in my undergrad, but I moved into the arts and writing and communication with people through the spirit, the soul, creativity, that kind of thing. And so then I moved into academics. And when I was doing that, my daughter actually was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which got me doing a whole lot of other things that I never actually thought I would do. I mean, I guess that's kind of the way it is with family or with people and with your life trajectory. It doesn't always go the way you think it is. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that we can think one thing and something else might happen. So I ended up going really heavily into functional medicine, and I didn't even know what that was. I mean, you know, I was still kind of going along like pill for nil and thinking that, you know, I go to a doctor and I get this sort of, you know, remedy to whatever ailed me. But I always knew that there was something more than that, and I wanted something that was intrinsically healthy for me. So I always felt that my body could do the job in some way. So I was the one that was exercising when all my friends were partying, you know, sleeping in from partying. Although it's not like you know, I was the one outside, you know, saying, let's go play catch, or I was biking alone. I was doing Jane Fonda workouts in front of like this huge 70s mirror in my mom's living room. Like, you know, so this is the things I was doing, not realizing that this is what I was seeking out. So, you know, I homeschooled my kids, never thought I would do that. You know, we spent their young years on the riverbank, you know, catching crayfish and at the library. And then when this big D day happened, this is when I really just, I went way deep into that and never looked back. So in that journey, I really found that there wasn't enough in the medical profession to meet my needs, especially when there was a chronic illness was in the mix. So and so I just really had to dig deep and figured out that I had to do it myself. I had to piece together my own education. It was almost like getting a PhD just to mom, you know, just to mother. And I really find that nowadays, I think people are finding more and more that it is that this is the case. So I'm just going to pause just for one quick second. Is that Susan says it's frozen on her end. She can't get audio. I'm just going to tell her to keep trying and fiddle with her audio session or audio settings. Okay, so I'm going to try and like navigate back and forth. If anybody is on here that can really, who knows this kind of stuff, please do, you know, try to troubleshoot with her a little bit so that we don't kind of like stop the presentation portion as they're trying to figure this out. I see she's got someone trying to help her, so we'll let her keep going with that. All right, so what I want to say, okay, so let's start with this presentation. So that's sort of a little bit about me in a nutshell. It's not even close to being what I would like to share with you today. So if you want to know a little bit about me and my background, what I actually studied to get to where I am, what you might, because I think you need to know what you may be able to learn from what I've experienced and what I've learned and what I will share with you. So go to my website and there's an About Me page, and it says About Us or something like that, and then there's a scroll, like a little menu that comes down and it says About Carla. So you'll be able to read about me and about my background and credentials and that kind of thing, just so you know who you'd be working with. Another thing I want to say, any questions, we're going to do a Q&A after I go through this portion where I discuss the actual program. And yeah, oh, and also, you know, at the end too, you can book a meet and greet with me. So if we go through this whole 45 minutes and you're saying, well, I actually really would like to just talk to Carla, you know, even if we run out of time for Q&A, or if you don't get kind of like, don't get satiated with that, or if you feel like you want to ask some things of me personally, totally fine to book a meet and greet. I spend about, you know, 15 minutes to half an hour. Usually it's longer than that, but don't tell anybody. You know, depending on how much we want to talk about, I'm totally cool with that. So if you have other questions, it's totally fine for you to book a meet and greet. That link, just ask me for the link later if you want me to email you. You can find that in most of the emails that I send to you as well. There's a link that's, you know, you can book a meet and greet with me. So just let me know if you'd like to do that. I'd be happy to do that with you. All right, so let's get into talking about the program itself. Now, I don't see anybody else in the waiting room, so that's great. So we're just gonna get rocking with that. I don't have to worry about anybody waiting there. Okay, so here is the actual program here. And so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna keep trying to keep track of that chat. So every once in a while, I'm just gonna pop into the chat if I see something blinking, okay? But for now, I'm just gonna get going with this. So this is the information package. So if you are on the website and you went to the page that says HFF Practitioners, that's where you'll see a little bit more information about the program itself. So when you go there, you can request this package, and this is what comes to you, is this document. So what I want to do is go through this document a little bit slower, and where I can actually fill in some of the blanks, because there's a lot more to be said about the program than what I can really fit into like a succinct document. And actually, it's not even that succinct. It's 10 pages long. I know. I know I'm going to have like Lisa going, because, you know, actually before we started this, she said, I'm going to call her out so many times, but she said, I dare you to stay under, oh no, I challenge you to stay under 45 minutes because she knows I can't, but I'm going to really try. So Lisa, I'm going to give it a go. All right, so I just want to get oriented with our current situation. And it's really important that we talk about that, because I really feel like we don't need to focus on the problem, but what we need to do is identify the problem so that we can focus on the solution. So if we ignore the problem, there's no solution. I'm going to go to chat. There's a chat in here. All right, so I'm going to keep that chat open, actually. It looks like I can. And so let me see here. Susan tried that. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm confident. Lisa said she's confident. 45 minutes. Let's see. All right. So North Americans spend more money on healthcare than most other populations in the world, yet are some of the sickest people on the planet. Other countries that have been adopting the North American lifestyle are enjoying less vitality and suffering from increasingly poor health as well. The situation is serious, and when it comes to reversing this downward spiral, there is no time to waste. Think about this for a second. Is there anyone in your life that you know to be healthy? And when I say healthy, I mean, is there anyone in your life that does not have any sort of chronic condition? Maybe it's just me, but I can't think of a single one. Are you with me in that you are also asking the question, why? Okay, so I've just stopped there, and I actually just have to fix that because I always have to fix this. And Lisa's heard of this person before, but I actually can think of one person that I would say is healthy, and that's my Thai yoga massage therapist. So why? Well, obviously he practices what he preaches. He does something he enjoys. He, he has a very robust, good health. He's got a good gut. He travels. He takes care of his mind and his body. He bikes. He enjoys life. He makes it a point to be happy because it's a choice sometimes. Okay, sometimes there's some really devastating issues that can interfere with that, and we talk about that in the program. But, there are really very few people that I would consider to be really, truly healthy. And some of us are not healthy, but we're still happy, but we're not really healthy in body, or we're healthier in body, but there's something going on in our spirit or our mental health. So most of us have forgotten ourselves. We have forgotten what it means to be healthy, settled for a new normal of suboptimal health, and are now relying on old and dying systems to keep us alive. The medical system is overburdened in finances, labor, and resources, and quite frankly, failing in every capacity. Medical mistakes kill tens of thousands of people every year. Antiquated protocols and ineffective treatments continue to prove not only ineffective, but often harmful, which is, a real concern. Disregard of natural processes and the life-giving power of lifestyle and nutrition rob our families of safe ways to build health. And drug interactions and side effects contribute to organ damage and unpleasant symptoms, some of which people suffer from every minute of every day. So every minute of every day, and then why? So that's my question. So here I am identifying the problem, not so that we focus on the problem and dog and be down on the system and poor us, the system's terrible, but really to recognize that there's a problem so that we can fix it as a society, as a family, as a group of practitioners. So just a little bit more about that. Our elderly slip through the cracks of our systems. Our families are left disempowered and confused due to partial and often misguided advice, which is true because not everybody's keeping up with what we are learning and what we're learning right now in functional medicine and lifestyle interventions, and studying the ways of the blue zones, people in the blue zones of the centurions who are living longer and better without these huge medical interventions. What we're learning there is cutting edge. And so we need to stay on the cutting edge. And we're not really doing that when we have systems that we kind of rely on that limp along, making us just sort of survive. We want to go beyond survival because now we're not actually doing that. And our children are handed diagnoses in place of merit badges with no end or solution in sight. So people are scared, unwell, stressed, confused, and alone. And I really think that this is the case. And if we open our eyes to it, we can look around and see that many people are feeling isolated, alone, confused, and they're starting to go to Dr. Google. And I have no problem with that as long as you know where to go and with what information is useful and reputable. But they are trying to educate themselves because they know there's something missing. there's something that they haven't been taught, and they need to get up to speed to be able to keep up with the change in our environments and toxicities and deficiencies and everything that is creating this whole sense of ill health in our families. They're seeking that out. And so we want to rectify that. We want to help families through that. So conventional medicine is focusing on the wrong things, like suppressing symptoms, and reactionary medicine, that's just not good enough anymore to suppress a symptom. It's like turning off the fire alarm when the house is burning down. It still burns down, and actually you just don't know it. So until it's too late, right? So we don't want that. We don't want to react, we want to respond. So ignoring the very things that will make us healthy and keep us that way, like lifestyle choices, community, family, compassionate support, and proper information that recognizes that we are whole, multifaceted beings that need harmony in every aspect of ourselves and our environments. So in this program, we don't only talk about what vitamins to take and what stuff to eat and just we need to exercise, all those normal things you would think, or sort of regular things that you would think we would talk about as a health coach, but we also talk about our environments and how the spirit and how it can affect our mental and physical health, how all of those things play together, how, like not only physical environments, but also the mental environments, what we think about, who we hang out with, what we strive for, if we're creative or not, or living a life where we are engaged and inspired and excited. So all of those things lead to this state of health that our families will be in. So we talk about that in great detail throughout the program. So we really expand on that idea of health because we redefine what health actually means. Abraham Maslow is quoted as saying, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Such can be the case in our current model of healthcare that is imprecise. Sorry, it is a little bit. It's just like, we're going to just like, blanket this whole thing and say like, you go on an antibiotic and it should fix everything. Well, that's not necessarily true. Often it's not true. And we need to know that we can be a little bit more precise in what we give to people because we're individuals. We're going to talk about the concept of bio-individuality. And talk about what the framework is, what we all need to build health upon. So there are specific legs to that structure, but within the structure, each house is different, right? Each family is different, each body is different. So we learn all about that in the program. So reactionary, yeah, we want to respond, not react. We don't want to say, Mayday, Mayday, there's this, issue, we're going to throw medication at it, but then we're ignoring what actually happened in the first place. So if we slow down just a little bit and respond and think about things, we can actually get to the root cause and then actually fix it, help people to fix their own health from the roots rather than reacting, throwing something at it, and then maybe even creating an imbalance in another way. Even ignorant at times, right? Like I said, we need to keep up with the cutting edge. We need to be open to, the possibilities of what could be, what might be the best strategies and situations, depending on each individual person or family. We talk about all of that. Taking liberties and chances with your family's health. So, we don't want to do that, so we want to sort of turn this whole, the problems that we're seeing and fix those problems. So when I was going through this, and I still go through this, family members with my own family, trying to find, the right care when we need it. We don't want any of these things to happen. And all of these things have happened to me and my family, all my clients. I hear about this every day, all day, all of these problems. So what I've been busy doing is trying to, find solutions and sharing those solutions with the people that I train. And then as we work with the families that we each individually work with, we make a great amount of change for those individual families. So we just can't let this continue. HFF practitioners will turn that around and guide people to vitality through precise, preventative, responsive care because we don't use hammers, okay? We don't use hammers. I'm just going to go through what we do. So what is an HFF practitioner? HFF, as you know, stands for Healthy Family Formula. And so that's my, initiative. That's what I call my initiative, is Healthy Family Formula. And what is that? What do we do? So the purpose of the program is to teach people in this way to practice family health coaching in the way that I see is most beneficial or effective for families in our current environment, and still, understanding what our purpose is, our scope, and then having people to understand how we can help them. So potential HFF trainees are dedicated, curious, forward-thinking people, passionate about helping others regain their intrinsic right to health. So I mean, there has to be a passion behind what we do. It's not just something you go, I think I'll tick that off, and you do that as a job. No, it's really like it needs to be a passion, because it takes dedication, time, work, effort, even a transformation of yourself, which is, I don't want anybody to be daunted by that, but just to be aware. And anybody who's seeking out learning about this program, I think you're already on that road, way down the road already. I know that. If you're at this point listening here, you're already saying, I want to do something more. I need to do something more than just plunking in some data, or not that that isn't important, it completely is, but some of us have a different calling. So it's a passion and a calling. HFF practitioners are knowledgeable about the science and physiology of health and recovery, but also well-versed in how to support people to achieve better health and ultimate health healing, focusing on the whole family and using functional medicine, lifestyle medicine, support, advocacy, and our own mix of skills and talents. Susan says she's on. Cha-ching. I think she actually said that a while ago, but I just was able to stop, take a breath and look at my chat. So, woohoo, you're on. Great. And she's actually a new student, so I'm excited to have her here. All right, so HFF practitioners don't cure people. Okay, so this is really important, because when we spend the first couple of weeks defining health and our role as healthcare professionals, as supports, as guides, as sources of reputable, cutting edge, current, relevant information. But we don't cure people. We guide them so that they can heal themselves, so they can actually, we give them opportunities for healing so that they can actually do it themselves. Because what we want to do, we don't want to create codependent relationships where everybody has to go, our clients always have to go through us and ask us. Yes, they're going to ask us this because we know more than what they do, but it's ultimately up to them. They're the ones at home, having to take their supplements. They are the ones that decide to go exercise. They're the ones that decide to, rectify relationships with their teenagers, or, decide that they need something to do with their family that's more creative to support their strength and their connection, so that they can actually be the voice of, guidance for their own families. They're the ones that have to do all of that work, and they're the ones that are ultimately in that control of that. And so we want them to feel empowered. We want them to be thinking, because I think that when we rely too heavily on a healthcare professional, there can be this hierarchical relationship where we think that we don't really know and they know better. There is this line between, or this dance between, being the authority, but also being someone that's along the journey with them. Okay, so that's more of what we do, and it's much better. It's much more beneficial, I think, to help people get organized and to make plans and to get the right information and be supported in their own decisions. And then they are empowered. They go off and they can do it themselves. That's the point. It's like being a parent. You don't want your kids to be dependent on you their whole lives, right? You don't want them to be, living at home till they're 50 or 60, or like their whole lives, because the point is to actually go, all right, you're strong. We're helping them to strengthen their own selves, autonomy, right? All right, so we lead and guide people to dramatically improve their health, enjoy recovery from chronic illness, prevent disease, and maintain good health using lifestyle interventions. Okay, so this is like huge, because if we talk about lifestyle interventions, we're like, okay, yeah, we can exercise and have a good diet, but what we learn in the program is why. So we go a little deeper into nutrition, we go a little deeper into movement and exercise. We really need to understand how sleep affects everything. If you have a terrible one night of sleep, it'll affect you in every way the next day. Could you imagine, chronic? And this is all about neurochemicals and hormonal balance. So we learn about all of that. So we learn the why. We we actually discuss the complexities so that we can get right back to the simple stuff. So we'll know all about why sleep is important, and then we come right back to full circle saying sleep's important, so you better get some rest between this hour and this hour. So the solution actually can be quite simple. It isn't always, so that's when we get to the chronic illness and all these little nuances about these individual issues. But the basics can be very simple, and but we need to know why, so that we are motivated to have our clients actually get on board with this, understand how important these issues are that we'll be discussing with them and suggesting to them and guiding them through, so that they understand how important it is, and then they get back to the simple stuff. Hey, I'm going to bed, 10 o'clock, it's time for bed, right? All right, so provide nutritional, lifestyle, and self-care counseling. So I don't mean counseling as in like being a counselor. I just mean as far as like a sounding board, right? Someone to discuss things with, and also to give some suggestions according to what we've learned in the program to be the case and to be the most effective for the issues that they present to us with. So empower and inspire clients and others to take control of their own health, heal themselves and families of chronic illness, and to live a more vital and healthful life through education and support. Talked about that already. I'm beating a dead horse a little bit, but I think that's really important to know. This is what we do. It ultimately is our goal is to empower our clients. Help alleviate the stress involved with our clients' health challenges by being the support and source of quality information they need. Again, you know, that's the formula, right? Like support plus education plus information, right? Equals healthy, you know, engaged individuals, right? Empowered individuals and families. Help clients to successfully complete a health overhaul. So we can do that as well. Sometimes it's a complete health overhaul. Actually, a lot of times it is. You start off with one little thing, and then like people realize like, wow, this affected this, this affected this, this affected this. And it's like a huge transformation that you will witness and be part of. But we just start them one step at a time. We don't say, you're going to change, everything's going to change for you over this next few months. You know, we don't do that. We let them unfold and figure that out for themselves. So also we can aid them to recover from chronic illness or just improve their health to meet their personal health goals. Okay, so, but all of those things actually do, you know, are big transformations, I guess. So the program itself. All right, so let's talk about that for a little bit. The Health Coach Practitioner Training Program is a dynamic, exciting hub of information and practitioners with a professional curriculum designed to empower trainees to really have the rubber meet the road for their clients in whatever capacity that inspires them. Okay, so it is a life-changing experience. So not only for you, that this program isn't really just to give you the goods and here's the protocol and here's the XYZ and this is how we do this. It really is a transformative program for the people involved as well. So as you learn about what you can do for clients, it's kind of like you're taking it on for yourself and you know, seeing how it changes you and how you view things and opening your eyes to certain things, as any learning will do. That's why I loved getting my degree. And when people say they want to go to university or something like that, or whatever they want to study, you know, and they say, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I said, so? Who cares? I mean, the whole purpose is to go there and to learn and see where it takes you. And it's really beautiful what the outcomes are. So trainees learn about the science they never knew existed and the intricacies. Oh man, I don't know why I stumbled. I did that last night too. Lisa will know that. Intricacies of the human body never presented in such a manner before. Okay, so the education through this program will give our students a comprehensive understanding about what health really is, how to achieve it naturally, and how to coach others to do the same. All right, so requirements. Sorry, it's split up into these 2 pages here, but just ignore that. So this is what is required to actually gain the certificate. So all candidates for certification must complete all of the required readings. Okay, so that's a given, right? And sometimes people fall behind and they go, I'm, you know, not keeping up and I need to catch up. I have weeks off that are built in. So after every module, there's a 4-week module. Then we have 1 week off that you can write the quiz, get caught up on readings. That happens after every single module, which is 4 weeks. And I'm pretty, you know, loose. I want to keep people on task. I'm a little bit like, I'm like a nudger, you know, hey, did you do your quiz yet? And, you know, that kind of thing. Although I'm not really encouraging my students right now because I'm behind marking. So I'm like, slow down. I don't know. So, but really, like, I do nudge, but I also completely understand how busy life is. You know, so I don't want it to be a stressful experience in any way, because there's going to be enough exploration, discovery. You know, some of these things that you'll learn in the program, your jaw will drop and you'll go like, how do we deal with this? And so, and that's going to be integrated. And as you go, you will actually start feeling a little bit better about it because you start becoming more empowered and saying, okay, I've integrated this learning and now I'm like, okay, I know what to do with it next. So I give people time to integrate. So we have a schedule because we need to sort of have things move through the program. So every week we do have a topic and we do our Sunday trainings. Every single Sunday it's live. But then, and whenever people, you know, if they haven't finished their readings, I don't care, show up for the live training. It's always worth it. We go through everything in that training. But there's lots of room for, you know, slowing down or speeding up, all that kind of thing. So it's not intended to be stressful pace. It's a lot, but it's not intended to be a stressful pace. Pass all exams and the practicum. So we have, I say exams, there are quizzes, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 in those 4 modules. Then we have a final exam in month 5 and 6 between there that can be written. It can even be written after month 6. Some people are like in month 10 and they're writing their final exam now. Totally fine. Just don't drop off the face of the earth and it's all good. You know, if you're communicating with me, you're still engaged, you're trying to get through something in life or whatever, you haven't finished the exam yet, totally fine. I'm cool with that because once you're in the fold, you're always with us. So, you know, we're doing advanced trainings. We're going to be doing some book studies. We're going to be going deeper into some of the curriculum. Like I have excerpts from certain books that I would actually like to study as a program almost, you know, where we take a chapter every single week. I'm going to be incorporating that in the new year. So there's lots of advanced study that we'll be doing once you finish that core part of the program. So you're never gone. I don't ask for more money. I don't it's just, you're always there. So I don't have any problem with people, you know, working with their own process. The exam, the final exam is actually fun. Well, actually, okay, so the written part, there is some, like a little bit of research to do and a longer written part. But then I give people a whole month from the time you request the exam to write that final. So really, I'm really looking for integration. I'm not looking for spitting out answers or memorization. I want it to be where you just know this stuff, you get it. And so that's why I give tons of time as an open book final exam. And then there's a verbal part of the final exam, which is super fun. And we do a little bit of role playing and I'm the client and you're the practitioner and we get to sort of fool around with that. It's really weird because it's almost like I'm this person. I'm this mom, and there's this one scenario where I feel like, you know, I'm going to be blamed because I'm doing something wrong, and like it was so interesting. So like every time I do this with people, so we have a lot of fun. So nothing to be scared about because it really, I want this to be a safe place to learn. Because, then you actually get really confident in what you're doing, and then you can kind of bring that out to your clients, having done it in a less stressful manner. All right, so I want people to participate in the discussions. You don't have to be super vocal, but at least like poke in every once in a while, even if it's sort of written in the Facebook group, because we have a very, very, very active Facebook group. I'll talk about that in a second. But also, like, if you can pipe up sometimes during the sessions, or if you need like a little bit in the chat, I just want to know that you're alert, alive, engaged. Sometimes, you know, if you don't want to do with people there, I think people everybody gets very comfortable. And so it's not really a problem, or you don't feel really shy after a while. And especially after that first time you say something, it's just like, whatever. After that, you're like, it's gravy. But, you know, and sometimes you just might want to converse with me on your own, which is totally fine. I'm good with that too, but I just want some participation, knowing where you're at, what your thoughts are, you know, that kind of thing, just to keep me in touch with you and what's going on. So write a final self-assessment. And that's at the very end, and we talk. Well, that'll be, you know, all that stuff is outlined in the program. You'll be able to, you know, download that assignment, what you're supposed to do, but those things need to be done before being granted the actual certification. All right, so program delivery, hands-on personal instruction by yours truly. I love it. That's why I keep it only to 20 people, and I just can't do more students than that. If I want to have this personal touch. I think, you know, I work a lot with people. Some of my students are asking me things, you know, personal things, which is great because I think that's a perfect place to learn. The perfect way to learn is when you're going through it yourself. Most people in the program do have certain health issues that they've actually been trying to overcome or have been overcoming, or, you know, in the process of doing this or switching over to this whole holistic view of health. So I'm there every step of the way. I'm there every step of the way with the practicum, and also when you become a practicing practitioner, through the Facebook group, and also through, you know, texting, calling, whatever we want to do to keep connecting. Because especially at first, you're going to need some of that guidance to know exactly where to take your clients, and I'm there for all of that. Weekly lessons and readings. So like I said, we meet. It's been Sundays. I think we're going to keep it Sundays. Weekdays are really tough. Sundays aren't that great either, but I mean, it's like lesser of the two evils, and at least we leave it a little bit later in the day in case people do have religious, you know, beliefs and they want to go to their churches in the morning, or they just want to sleep in on a Sunday, you know, so we keep it to the afternoon. And then we try to keep it so that even people overseas can attend. It might be like 8 in the afternoon there, but I know, you know, we have some people in the UK, Israel, one in Italy right now. So, you know, we're just trying to keep it so that most people can make it. The one in Australia is having a rough time getting there because it's 6 in the morning, Monday morning or something like that. It's just like, wow, we can't get her there. So she's managed to make it a little bit when the time zone changes. So anyway, so that's what we've been doing is Sundays every single week, except for that, you know, after the 4th week, we have a week off. So 5-month delivery of the program materials, and then the 6th month involves the training plus required practicum. So we do have a weekly session in the 6th month as well. It's very different though. Like it's more discussion. It's more, you know, troubleshooting. It's like figuring out our niche, you know, discussing who we want to serve, you know, what our population will be. Everybody wants to work with someone different. We've got people who want to work with mamas to be and new mothers, all the way to people who want to work with, you know, people with chronic illness or mold illness or environmental issues. There's a few people that are interested in things like pandas and autoimmune conditions. And some people just want to help people to get better, you know, help people to feel good as a family, to change habits. You know, it doesn't have to be super critical or, you know, a really big health issue. We'll be equipped to do that, but we do not have to do that. That is up to everybody. That's your choice. I happen to work with a really sick population, or a population of people that are, you know, addressing kind of bigger issues. But you don't need to do that. You just will know how. And I'm kind of thinking you might find that there are more people than that you think. They'll come to you and say, I just want to lose weight. And you're like, whoa, you open up that can of worms, because there's like toxicity and there's the, you know, like trauma underneath all of this stuff. So, but, you know, baby steps. And we take those clients in baby steps as well. So weekly studies and group training calls, like I just said, every Sunday, quizzes and exams to ensure learning and integration. So I really just want to know what the quiz is. Are you reading your stuff? And then I'm looking for an 80% to pass. I've never had anybody fail yet, and none of you will either. So 80% to pass that. And again, yeah, I just want to make sure that people are reading, keeping on track, because I know I need to do these things too to make sure I don't kind of let things slide, because there are many things on my list that could bump this right off the top, right? So keeping that on the top of your list while you're doing the training is really important. Syllabus and training exam schedule. So we have weekly training sessions. Like I said, weekly sessions will be determined according to the current offering, like as I said, so it won't really change much. It's either a 12 o'clock my time slot or 2. So you guys will probably be the 2 o'clock time slot because I'll still have one going at noon, my time. So I'm in Saskatchewan. We always go with Saskatchewan time. We don't change our clock. So if you change your clock, check Saskatchewan time zone so that you'll know if it's a different time for you. It would never be different for me. I know it's really weird, but that's kind of how it is. There'll be one exam or assignment per month. I'm just saying that. Practicum months can begin after month 5. So when you start your practicum, and that'll all be explained on how to do that in all your materials, and we'll discuss that when we get closer to that in the program. But it can be started after month 5. It can be started way later too if you're still working on quizzes. If you want to, defer this, it's totally fine. I'm very flexible about when the practicum begins. And when we have practicums, we do discuss them in the group. And so no names, of course, or anything like that, but we'll plunk them in there, and then everybody gets to learn alongside everybody else who's in that practicum. I make lots of comments. People comment on their own work, and then as you work with your client, they know that I'm being CC'd, so I can watch what's going on, all the correspondence and that kind of thing. So it's a really nice way to, really feel supported through that whole process. Okay, so I'm going to go through quickly each and every month. So month 1 is putting on the training wheel. So about this training, so that's what we're going to talk about in the first month, is what we're doing. Unraveling the medical model. So we're going to sort of try to flip that on its head, moving from reactionary to really responsive, revolutionary health. And then lifestyle medicine and the functional approach. So we talk about all of those things. We start thinking about the practicum. Most people don't, but I suggest people to do that, but they don't actually really think about it until like it's upon them, because we forget. But then, I sort of get the cogs going, about who might I work with for my practicum client. Month 2 is pointed in the right direction. That's what I call that month. And so in that month, we talk about the essential pillars of health. We talk about functional basics, which would be physiology, nutrition, sleep, rest, exercise, supplements, all those things that we would see as typical health coaching topics. The roles of the immune system. So this is kind of getting a little more advanced, okay, than the typical health coaching program. We talk about the immune system. We talk about toxicities and deficiencies, which I think the 3 amigos, it is actually the core of health. This is what we really need to understand to deal with anything, like everything and anything. So we go into that. We will also explore topics such as the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. I don't know why I just put central, but autonomic is actually where it's at. We really are focusing on that branch of the nervous system. The GI system, like huge. And people call it the gut and whatever, and it's become very trendy and, very much in the mainstream eye now. But what do we do about it? What's going on there? There are a lot of functional issues that we discuss about the GI. The mitochondria, which might be a new concept to everybody here. I explain what they are and how they function and what their role is in human health. Everybody. And the microbiome is really related to the GI system. And I say mitochondria twice, so I need to edit this. The virome and epigenetics. Okay, so really, really important to understand what the virome is, the viruses that live amongst us and how they create imbalance or balance, and we talk about epigenetics in that month as well. So month 3, conditions and illnesses. Here we will cover a myriad of conditions and illnesses, chronic illnesses such as ADD, ADHD, autism, cognitive decline, depression, and mood disorders, addiction, autoimmunity, which would be like rheumatoid arthritis, MS, type 1 diabetes, etc. Many autoimmune conditions. Type 2 diabetes, overweight, fatigue, and gastrointestinal distress. Those are just some examples. We do like a listing of this. We don't go into everything into complete detail. Otherwise, we just wouldn't have time. It's not within the scope of this program, but we do categorize them, clump them together, understand underlying causes that could create these disease states. So I talk about the heavy hitters and the usual suspects. So we talk about the usual suspects that can create these disease conditions. Then we talk about the heavy hitters that can actually address most of them. Sweet, it's sweet. So we touch on subjects such as vaccines, antibiotics and medications and their alternatives, because those are not in my wheelhouse, right? I'm not a doctor. I don't practice medicine. I'm not really wanting to, what I'm wanting to do is work with the body and its own immune system, improving the immune system and finding things in nature and within our own power and lifestyle practices that actually turn around disease states, so make us intrinsically and healthy from the inside out. So month 4, the HFF toolkit, healing modalities. Okay, so this is the toolkit. So then we get into like, okay, what do we have in our kit to be able to make these things work? Healing modalities, the holistic model, creating protocols, troubleshooting special topics such as supplementation and testing. So we go into those topics. Trainees become empowered with safer, more effective, and natural means to help their families and clients achieve optimal health status. So again, okay, now we're coming back to the practicum, you know, after like 4 months, you know, like, hey, poke, remember we've got to come up with a client who is willing to be your practicum client. And so we start like, I would like to hear from trainees about who they would like to work with. I don't want anybody picking someone who's, you know, got a life-threatening illness. We want someone, even if they've got something a little bigger, but we still want to start with step 1. And so we can, you know, always improve conditions. So even if someone has MS and you say, well, can I work with someone with MS, Carla, you know, having not even, you know, don't even have my designation yet. Yeah, of course you can, because there's a lot we can do to improve that situation. And we know, and you will know by this month, by the time you get to your practicum, what things not to do. Okay, so you know certain things are going to be contraindicated and that kind of thing. So you'll be pretty, you know, well versed in that, and then we can work on that together to make sure we make a safe, suggested healing plan for that person. So month 5, the map to better health, how to be a health coach. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we communicate with people? How do we work with children, elderly people, whole families? Assessing your client's needs. Advocacy, you know, so there's an element of advocacy, whether we're teaching people to advocate for themselves, keep their own personal health records, fire maybe certain healthcare professionals that aren't meeting their needs or ignoring them, or, you know, stuff like that. Really helping people to become empowered in their own health, not being, you know, disrespectful of people in any way, because that can actually happen. That's not cool either. But also knowing when you need more help, where to find that help, and how to voice that need for that help in a way that can get you results. So creating compliance and ensuring success. So when I say compliance, it's not really the best word, because I want people to be empowered, but when we say compliance, that means like, I want to do this, but then are they going to do it? You know, like, are they actually going to do it? And so that the answer is, you know, them being motivated, them being understanding of what is driving them, why they want to get better, you know, what their ultimate goals are. So we do a lot of work with, you know, how to set goals with clients, you know, so that they don't really have to comply, that they're actually just self-motivated. So that's more the word that I should have used there. And then creating supports for your clients, review and comprehensive exams. So we review the materials later on in month 5, which is that part of the program we're getting to with my spring group that started in the spring, because we're going to be done before Christmas, and the comprehensive exam. So we go through that exam, and I discuss it, and actually that's what we're doing next week with that group. I can't believe we're talking about the final exam already, but we are. So month 6, where the rubber meets the road, practicum. So people are performing, they can start their practicum, but we're still doing regular sessions in that month 6. Finding your niche and how you want to use this training, preparing for graduation, and creating your practitioner profile, which is like really important, because I really want people to be able to define what their services are, how they want to present themselves to potential clients, and also, you know, you're still always within the fold of the HFF. So when we're doing that, we're creating your practitioner page on the website. So that's really important, because I want everybody to be like, I'm building that. I say an army. I mean, I should say family. You know, I'm building this army of, you know, really effective health coaches that people can choose from. You know, some people, like I said, have this niche and that niche, and so we're going to have this really beautiful set of pages, each person having their own page, and an introduction to them so that people can really select the person that works best for them, or that would work, they would resonate the most with. And so, and so that's what we're doing. We're developing that. That's coming newly. We got like some of the graduates are working on their pages right now. So practicum report and self-assessment. So so that's when you do that report after the practicum and you assess how you think you did, right? And so that's what happens in month 6. All right, so materials. Family Health Revolution Practitioner Guide. That's including your tuition. You get that upon graduation. It's actually going to be a PDF. So it won't be printed. I may print it at some point, but it's just an extra cost. And I'm not like Miss Moneybags or anything. So so we'll see. But for now, it's just a guide. It's a PDF guide because it's not a giant book or anything like that. You will get a book later that's actually my Family Health Revolution, not the guide, but the practitioner version of that book. Now that one's a little more giant. So that one you will get a paper copy of that sent to you. It's going to be sweet, but that's not printed yet. But by the time you're done this program, we will have that. Printable materials, including studies, articles, HFF materials, and the required readings list. Okay, so that's printable. It's not printed. You have to print your own stuff. I know it's not ideal either, but if you don't like to read online all the time, I don't really like that either. I think it's not good for your eyes, and I'll give you heck for that if you're like this, like until midnight every day or 2 in the morning. I don't want you doing that. So just if you can, print it and keep it all in a binder. And then, so they're all on the course page. All the links are on the course page. And then additional books, if you have a reading, so all the readings are there. You don't have to buy any more books. But if you want to, and if you're saying, okay, I really enjoyed this revolutionary trauma release process book, and I like the excerpts that Carla put, and I would like to buy it, you need to buy your own book. But everything that you need is actually linked to the pages where you have access to the program. All right, so the practicum, we can talk about that, when you get to that point. It's actually, I'm there all the way. I already explained that, so I don't want to take up any more of your time this evening discussing that, because we've been on almost an hour already. And I didn't meet that challenge, Lisa, for 45 minutes, but maybe I did, because we chit-chatted for a while first, so maybe I did. Maybe I made it 45 minutes in. So graduation notes. Upon graduation, you will receive the professional designation of HFF Family Health and Self-Care Coach. And she's saying, I'm doing well, keeping the pace. Woohoo! So a beautiful diploma to display in your home or office. And I was just saying last night, that's cheesy, but whatever, it's still beautiful. You get to put it up. It's not really the selling feature, but I thought maybe I'd add that. A digital and hard copy of the Family Health Revolution Coaching Manual, which is what I just said earlier, that you'll be receiving when it's all finished and prettied up and put into Inbound and printed. And so what is extra, so it's basically the Family Health Revolution book that is for, the everyday person to read. And I actually really am so excited because it's something you can actually tell your clients to buy. And then they can actually, and you can say, refer to this page, refer to that page, refer to this page. And it's so much easier than having to educate people from scratch about every single one of those things. It will save you time, it will save them time, and it will be like a reference that they can keep, forever, right? So, but yours will be the souped up version, the coaching manual, which actually gives coaching tips and protocols and ideas for, rectifying this issue, and that is more for coaches, so that you can know how to coach people through the particular changes that are, suggested in each of the chapters. So that's sweet. I'm really, really excited about that coming out. So beyond graduation, so once you've completed the program, you'll be qualified to, and so people ask me, what's our scope? What is it that we can do? What can we claim to do? We don't claim to be doctors. We don't claim to save lives. We don't claim to cure anything. I'm not interested in claiming that. I'm also not interested in being too shy about what we do. So the wording is really important when you present yourself to people. If they say, well, what do we do? What am I need some help. What is it that you do? I have created a scope of practice piece that that I give to everybody, and each trainee needs to sign that, because it just gives rules like, we do not claim to do this, we do not claim to do that, because it will actually bring us down as a program if people are going out there claiming to do things that they can't do, and then people, they get the expectations that are not realistic. And not true, right? Like we don't cure anybody. We actually guide them. We give them suggestions. We provide healing opportunities and quality information, and we work with them so that they can make changes in their life to become healthier, right? So I have a scope of practice piece that I've written up, so you can look at that, read through that, and then really understand what you are equipped to do. So I'll go through that really quickly here. This is a couple of points from it, but it's not the scope of practice piece that I'm talking about. And also there's one for clients to sign before they work with you, so that they clearly understand what we do and do not do. Okay, so we're not doctors and we're not interested in that. We do something very different than a doctor does. So they can't be looking to us to do that. It's the same thing. They can't be looking to their doctors and expecting someone to coach them through the hours and hours it takes to do health coaching, because it's a totally different thing. So anyway, you'll be qualified to lead and guide people to dramatically improve their health, enjoy recovery from chronic illness, prevent disease, and maintain good health using lifestyle interventions and without medications. Okay, so that's our goal. Medications aren't, like I said, we're not doctors. It's not really in our wheelhouse. We might have people that are on medications or who are trying to get off, and so we can sort of help them to work on doing that. And of course, if there's a medical doctor that put them on medications, they need to be aware that they're doing some lifestyle changes, maybe some supplementation that may affect that medication. So they need to monitor that and slowly wean off if they're trying to do that. So, we do work in tandem, but we do not prescribe at all. But what we can do is that we have access to lots of testing through the program. So I've actually gained access through my other coaching designations. So one of them was I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I have access to many labs through that program that I've been qualified to actually to order as well as to interpret. I've also done my own seeking out. So I've got my own access to, let's say, Vibrant Wellness, to the Great Plains Laboratory. So I can do a lot of specialty labs that actually even doctors don't even use or know to use. So we can do a lot of advanced testing. If you don't have that yourself, you go through me, and I just make sure I keep my finger on it and help you to interpret. But we can do all kinds of testing, like GI testing. We can do food Zoomers. We can do autoantibody testing. So those are the ones that I really think are very useful. Organic acids testing. So we learn about that when we would use those tests. And also, I only have really maybe 10 that I think are worth spending the money. Okay, so we narrow that down, because there are so many we could do, but so many that are just pretty much useless and a waste of our clients' time and money. So so that's what we talk about in our section where we talk about testing. Empower and inspire clients and others to take control of their own health, heal themselves and families of chronic illness, and to live a more vital and healthful life through education and support. Help alleviate the stress involved with your clients' health challenges by being the support and source of quality information they need. We also help clients to successfully complete a health overhaul, recover from chronic illness, or just improve their health to meet their personal health goals. Okay, so we've talked about this. What I want to sort of end with is just a quick and dirty about that graduation is only the beginning of our work together and with the people we intend to assist in their own healing journeys. Okay, so it's just the beginning. Once certified, HFF practitioners will remain part of the HFF family with lifetime access to the following, and I've said this already. The practitioner referral program for our graduates, which is rolling out in the new year. Personal practitioner about me webpage, which I already said. I talked about that. Practitioner hub for troubleshooting client cases and sharing resources. Love this. I know it's on Facebook, and Facebook is not super secure and safe, but it is a private group. You have to be, admitted into the group and by me. So you have to request access, and I have to actually give you permission to be there. Only trainees and graduates are permitted into the group. So it's as safe as we can get it in that Facebook, environment. But it's a really big, huge, wonderful hub. And we're using it more and more and more every day. I'm finding that before I was having a hard time keeping new information in there. Now it's just like, wow, there's so much stuff that's going on in there. It's like, it can be a lot, but if you keep on in touch with like, oh, someone posted something new, blah, 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 it's really, really useful and beneficial to be in there. So ongoing opportunities for professional development, like I mentioned before, book studies, advanced trainings. We do, I'm doing a series of advanced trainings with specific other professionals that are coming to, do those for us. So then the upcoming one is with Dr. Sandy Gluckman, who talks about, mental health and, this feelings of safety for children. They need to feel safe before they actually can get well. So she talks about how we can calm the limbic system and that kind of thing. So she's awesome. She's had a very different view of like family counseling, that we really need to learn from that. And I did something with Armin Labs. I also did an example of a Vibrant Wellness Neural Zoomer interpretation. So we've got all kinds of stuff going in there. All right, so ongoing support for our community of practitioners, which is obvious. Quick links for practitioners. So we've got those links. They're in the Google Doc. So once you're in the program, you can see that there's a Google document that is online. It's dynamic. So when I add stuff, it's automatically there. There's links to all the materials in the program. There's also like another, we have a home on our website that's actually the course itself. And you can move through the course if you prefer to do it that way and sort of like check off done, done, done. Like, module 1, week 1 is done. So we go through that in an orientation. And so quick links for clients. So, there are certain things like in our documents that you can actually use the links and say, hey, this is a really good thing for, your hyperreactivity, or this is a really good product, or this is, so there are lots of links that I link to that you can actually just scoop up and send to your clients. Lifetime access to the recorded lessons and materials forever. So if you're in like, let's say, this year, winter, and then 2 years later, they'll all be archived. So I archive them in a specific area, which I'll show you that in the orientation, and possible future HFF practitioner conferences and meetups. That would be sweet. I'm like, I really want to do it. I can't get my head around actually pulling it off right now because there's so many things I'm doing. But eventually, once we have a really juicy, good number of people who have been through the program or who are taking it, I'm going to actually offer that and see who can come. I love conferences and getting together with like-minded people that you're studying the same thing and having fun with them. I mean, we could do karaoke night and we can do dancing and all. I'm up for that. Or maybe a play might have someone come in and do something. I don't know. And we'll have like awesome vendors. We'll do like maybe little treatments, throughout the day. We're going to do a ton of learning. It's going to be like, it'll be intense. Like I love those intense conferences because you learn so much, but then we'll do some follow-up feedback, provide all the recordings, of the sessions. So I would love to do that. So that's down the pike. So this is what I want to do in the future. Grow, 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 grow. And so applying your certification, I think this is, I said the last thing was the last thing I was going to say, but this is what I actually want to end with is, what can you do with it? People are like, all the practical things. And a lot of if any of you are married or have spouses, this is often the question of the spouse, not necessarily people like, usually it's all of us going like, yeah, I just want to learn it. I just can't wait. But then you've got this, well, what can you do with that? Well, a ton. And so stay within the fold as an HFF practitioner. So straight up do health coaching. On your own or within the fold, whatever. If you want to have your own thing, whatever you want to do with it, you don't have to be like exclusively an HFF practitioner. You can just use it as one of your credentials if you're adding that to whatever you do already, if you've got a practice or if you've got, a psychologist or if you're a nurse or whatever you want to do. That's just up to you. So work with individuals and families on their health goals as an educated professional in the field. So again, working in the capacity of family health coach, educate others through podcasts, blogs, newsletters, books, articles, studies, and speaking engagements. So there are many things you can do if you're a writer. You use that knowledge to write about it. I mean, I do all of these things. That's why I said all of these things. If you like to be on, screen, you could do your own summits. You could do your own podcast. I mean, some people just podcast and they actually make a living doing that because they get sponsors, and that's where they shine. They want to actually keep educating people. And when you do that, though, you need to have a good understanding of what you're discussing, right? So, I mean, it might be part of your practice too. You might have a podcast to promote the practice, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, through the Children's Health Summit, that's how everybody got to know me. It was through my Children's Health Summit. That's actually the first thing I did before I did any coaching at all, was I actually produced a Children's Health Summit. It was the first one of its kind. Nobody was doing children's health in that format. And so, you know, after me, there's been lots, but I have to say I was the first one. And so years ago. And so that's how people started to get to know me. So we talk about all that stuff. We play with it. You know, there are lots of people who are doing like speaking engagements or, you know, personalized things in their communities. Some people get paid for those. Some people do, like you could do consulting in schools if they're open to that. Lots and lots of stuff you can do. Apply this certification to your existing practice or services. I mentioned that. Start community initiatives, outreach programs, partnerships with other healthcare professionals. You could even try to be like a health, you know, like one of those health gurus online that's like a celebrity doctor, celebrity health coach or something. Hey, I mean, that's totally possible. You just have to present yourself in a different way and maybe like write your books or et cetera, et cetera. I'm actually a developmental editor. I'm a writing coach as well. So I'm working on a few different projects right now with people. And we did actually a few others, so we could talk about that another time, but that is in the health profession, with people in the health profession, or people who went through really big health crises with their families and they wrote memoirs. So I'm really interested in doing that. I can help with that too. So we can tandem on those kinds of initiatives as well. Focus on patient advocacy, crisis intervention, and or coaching support, depending on what you want to do. Specialize in mental health, detoxification, addictions, nutritional therapy, autoimmune, children's health, geriatric stress reduction, etc. So you can specialize. Like I said, you know, you find your niche, who you want to work with, and you roll with it and you develop your services according to that particular population and your own skill set. Develop online and in-person programs. So this is another really interesting way to offer your services. Supports because sometimes, you know, people do like group programs. They offer like, you know, evergreen recorded programs. I've done a few of those. I really like doing both. So we record these things, but I also like to be in person, so I can just be there, deliver it, have people ask me questions. It's live, it's interactive. But you don't have to do that. You can do like recorded programs if you want. You know, even curriculum development. I did some work with Documenting Hope. I wrote all their parent curriculum. And so really interesting project, reversing chronic illness, childhood chronic illness. And they have a great initiative that they are always, you know, they're working toward this film project. So open and online practice, or even an in-person clinic. This one is like the sort of like brick and mortar where people say, okay, that makes more sense to me. Come down from the clouds, Carla. Come down from the clouds. I just want a practice, or, you know, the back room of my house to be where someone comes and we discuss things. Totally cool. Totally fine. You can do that actually on Zoom. You can also do that in your home. It doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. We have a trainee right now who actually has a clinic already, and she wanted to deepen and expand her practice, her knowledge base to include whole families and children, because there's very little out there that actually takes into account the children. How do we do this with children? How do we coach whole families? So she's taking the program, but she already has a clinic that she opened up in September. So that might be what you're gunning for, is an in-person clinic. All right, so okay, so that's it. That's me. If you want to know more about me, just go to the website and read a little bit about that, my credentials, my background. Okay, so this is what we also need to talk about, is the tuition. The tuition is 5,000 Canadian, which, like, unfortunately isn't worth as much as US dollar, but for all of you people in the US, which is probably all of you here, it comes to like I think it comes to like 37 or 3,600 US dollars. You can do one payment. You can do 10 or 5 payments or 10. I am flexible about that. I understand budgets and money and all that kind of stuff. One thing I do is offer an incentive for people who pay everything up front and save me the administrative headache, which is fine. I will work with you on that. It's totally cool. I mean, if we do what we do. But just to say thank you, I give $500 off your tuition if you pay it all in one go. And so I have an application process. And so before you can register, I would like to see a cover page and a resume. And the cover page is really just like, however brief you want to make it, a paragraph, a page, whatever you want to do, just, write until you're done telling me why you want to be in this program. And it can be a personal reason, it could be a professional reason, and it's usually both. And so all I want to do is get to know that applicant and know that this is the right place for you. I'll say this now, but I haven't really met anybody yet that doesn't really fit in the program yet. Because I think once you get to that point and you're motivated enough to write this application, I think that, you know that this is something that you really want to do. So putting in that effort says a lot to me. Also, for you, putting in that effort makes you reflective of what you want to do here. And again, that's your motivation, that's your goal, that's your drive, that's what is going to keep you excelling in the program and really engaged and enjoying it. So I love doing stuff like this. I know it sounds like maybe like a writer thing to do, but I actually really love it because I get a chance to reflect. It's like when you have your clients fill out their form, their intake form. And so when they do that, they actually start like listening to their bodies, they're recognizing symptoms, they're saying, well, this is questioning this, saying, is this what, oh, I didn't know that this was important, And so when we do that, it really gets us grounded and focused and paying attention to the things that actually are relevant and that matter. So that's it. I mean, really, it's not a very long thing, but I would like to see a cover page that answers that question and also a resume, just so I know your background and who it is that's, what it is, your skills that you're bringing to the table that you're going to be able to sort of put together for yourself. And it gives me an idea too on where I can sort of maybe drill down a little more on for you, direct you in certain areas that might be a little bit more expansive to what you're interested in. And then I only accept 20 applicants or participants per session for this people who apply. I want it full soon. I really don't want to be doing any sort of registration over the holidays. I don't really want to do it in December. That's why I've started it now in November for a January start. So I think it's just better for everybody. I mean, especially me, I really need to take that time. And I'm finishing up some parts of this book that I was telling you about. So that's why I'm starting the registration now. And also, and I want to say too, that the application process is not competitive against other applicants. So it's a first come, first served. And if it gets full of applicants that are actually, approved to apply, right? Like if I say, okay, you're accepted into the program. And then once you actually do make that first payment, you're actually in the program, you've saved your spot. But if there's 20 people that have already been approved to apply, more than that, then they have to wait until the next offering. All right, so then so that I just explained that application process. You would need to apply to c.atherton@sasktel.net. That email address, it will land in my inbox for any email that you get from me from my, I guess, anything that I send in the newsletter. You reply, and that's still me, so you can do that. Or you can send your application to c.atherton, that's my last name, @sasktel.net. So just scribble that down. If you forget what it is, just you can contact me easily, like I said, through my website or through replying to any email I've sent you through my newsletter. And then that just goes through, everything that you need to do. If you want this document, all you need to do is go to my website, go to HFF Practitioners and request the information package. That would probably be the best way, or you can actually email me directly and ask me to send it to you. I think that's it. Final note, I don't really need to say that. Let's just, I'm going to open up the floor to questions, and I'm going to stop my share. And if you have anything you want to ask me, the floor is yours. So, and I'm going to see if there's anything in the, nope, in the chat. So you can chat it. You can come off of mute. And I'm actually I think I'm going to put you guys in gallery. Yeah, there we go. So that if you want to come off your video, I can actually see your faces. If you don't want to be on video, that's totally fine if you're not. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Go ahead and ask questions if you'd like. Hi, Lisa. No questions. Okay, so how about, okay, if you don't have questions, I'm surprised. Oh, Susan. Go ahead, Susan.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Can you hear me, Carla? Hi, is there any way we can get a sneak peek into the materials? Like I noticed you need a password when you go into some of the Google Docs or some of the webinars or whatnot.
Well, okay, so you're in the program now. So what I haven't done yet for you is to actually grant you access to the program itself, because we don't start for a bit. So what I usually do is like a week before or 2 weeks before, I give you access to all of that stuff. But you're just you're in the Facebook group already, and so you're probably just going to do that. So I can send you that. So why don't we just let me know what you're not getting access to that you want access to. I'm thinking it's the online course. Is that right, Susan? Like the online course, is that what you need?
That, and also there's some right, and I was looking at some of the videos from the Children's Summit.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get into that without a password.
Okay, I've actually, if you go to the Facebook group, the password is there. So I reposted a new post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it should be, and I actually posted so much stuff today. I'll tag you on it, okay? Because I posted like 10 things today. I was like, bam, 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 bam. So I'll tag you on that exactly.
Okay, perfect.
You can find it, okay? So the password is there. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Okay.
No problem.
I'm just getting overly ambitious.
It's okay. I want you to be able to start. So I'm going to actually add you to the program. So I'll give you access to that. And then you have that oh, I'm sorry, my brain's shutting off. See, I always see this. Lisa, Lisa knows this. When I get to this certain point, I go, oh, deflate. So you'll have access to that, Susan. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, so Lisa, do you have anything to say?
Oh, I'm just realizing. Susan, you're seeing that we all just welcomed this week, yeah?
Yes, this is Susan.
Oh, okay. I'm the same way. It's getting a little bit late. My brain finally clicked.
Thank you very much.
You're that?
Yes, welcome. Now, any questions, go right ahead. It's not just you, Carla.
Well, okay, so how about I introduce Lisa? All right, so Krista, I see that you just hopped in. I finished my whole presentation, but what I can do, Krista, is send you the recording to this so that you have like what I just went through. We're just in the Q&A section of the presentation now, so I'm just getting some questions from people about the program that I haven't actually addressed already. And so I'm gonna actually, so Abigail has a question for Lisa, which is great because I actually wanted to introduce Lisa because she is actually a current student in the program. She's been so supportive. I just love you. And so she came last night and was willing to answer questions, but she had to hop off before the questions even came. So she sat through this whole presentation and didn't even get to say anything. And then she came back today. So I really appreciate that, Lisa. I think that's just amazing. And she's like, always on stuff. She's like, she pushes me like crazy. Just say, Carla, did you read this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. So just hang on. So I have to read it and I have to keep going. This is what my students do for me too, is make me learn more. So I appreciate that. So Lisa, Abigail's question, and I see Abigail there on video. She says, Lisa, what population are you hoping to work with? Okay, so we know this because we know this about Lisa. So you tell us what you're hoping to do.
Well, I'm feeling guided to possibly work with young girls and women with regard to hormones and moon cycles and things of that nature. There's been not as much information available, as well as a lot of misinformation, and so many people are confused, and soft, loving guidance is definitely needed in that area. So that may be my step one. And then I'm a firm believer in show me the path.
Yeah.
I'm taking everything that I learned in, and I know the path will unfold as I take each step. I trust it. And then Carla's always got a million bright ideas, so you never know. Might get swept up in her flow.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, and now I'm going to say, after I said I'm opening the floor to questions, I actually have a training in 5 minutes. So I'll tell you what I have to bust off to do. One of the labs that I have an account with is Vibrant Wellness. And what I'm doing is going through one of my clients' results of her 12-year-old son with a NeuroZoomer Plus, which is a test that tests for autoantibodies to brain tissue. And also, so we have this higher population of kids being diagnosed with pandas. And also I'm really interested to find out what stimulation and usage of EMF and also, Wi-Fi and wireless headphones and all these things, what it's doing perhaps to the brain, the children's brain. So I'm attending that advanced training in about 5 minutes. I thought I had tons of time, but that's probably why, Lisa's challenge for me to do 45 minutes would have been really good. So, we can do one more question, but no, everybody seems to be pretty good for questions. If you want to make an appointment with me to do a meet and greet, let me know, and then we can do that if you want to do a little bit more. And then if anybody has a question for Lisa, because I'd really like to honor her time, if you have any other question for Lisa, if you just have anything quickly to say about the program, I'm going to just let you do that, because then you made an effort to come here, so I'd like to just honor that time.
Oh. No, when I was listening to your presentation of how it is formatted for our own pace, I think that was one of the most beautiful gifts I've ever had with any type of way of learning. It's not like you're under the gun to say, by this date, or you have this assignment and it has to be done today in 2 hours in this window. And she gives you time to really integrate it, maybe look up a few things if you need to, ask questions, message back and forth with her, think about it. Do some of it, come back. Same thing with submitting the quizzes. She gives you time to look through things. And for myself, I found sometimes I want to give it a go through one time, let it kind of percolate a couple of weeks, go back, reread it, see if I've got any other inputs or ideas, and then go ahead and submit. So having that, and you'll realize as you reread stuff that you did in one moment, you may have some new ideas or another concept came to you. Or you've taken a couple more classes and then you want to add something and further investigate something before you submit. And plus too, we're at the stage now where I feel I think Carla would agree, we're all finally opening up and chitty-chatting between each other, because at the beginning it was a little slow and it was kind of no one really knew what to say or do. We're all kind of doing all of our materials, but we still are always active in the Facebook group, so that's always a great tool.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback, Lisa. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to sound
And the presentation was really fun. Don't be scared of those things.
Good. I'm so glad. Thank you for saying so. All right, so sounding the gong, I got to move on to this training. I'm just glad it worked out for you to come. Like I said, I was expecting 50 people who registered. It's they register, they don't come. So it's okay, because they can listen to this recording. So I'm going to send that recording off to other people as well. So that's great. So if you're listening to the recording, thank you for doing that as well. And if you want to register, please do so as soon as possible. Do apply as soon as possible so that we can get everybody all sorted out and into the program. And Susan, hang tight for some access to the materials soon. Like by tomorrow, you will have that. So excited to have you. You're on, oh, and I think you said thank you or something. I'm going to unmute you.
One last thing I would say, Carla.
Yeah.
I was going to say for Susan, she can reach out in the Facebook group if she wants with any questions you might come up with in the next couple days. Just go ahead and message me. I can get back to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
There, now I can hear you. Okay, perfect. Okay, stop and recording.